wait to the appropriate time, because I think that we refer to attachment number 2 as being part of this recommendation in the report. And I just wanted to address the issue with respect to the enforcement options for lands not purchased and what
we haven't got into that discussion yet.
I want to make sure that that is part of the discussion, because I sort of take offense, and I'm sure a lot of other people in here will take offense.
Mr. Biggert, if you want to
the issues with respect to the options if
go
the
over
land is not purchased.
The discussion about if the lands aren't purchased.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Yes, and again, in a discussion I've had with some of the residents on Lake Drive very recently, I was attempting to make clear that my obligation as the lawyer is to make certain that my client has an understanding of all of the options available to it with respect to what could be enforcement. And I do say in my report, I would recommend that we have fences put up if people don't purchase, and then I would recommend that we put up notices, and I would recommend all these other aspects that go forward. Each of those is really a increasing scale of enforcement, if you will, because the objective, part of the objective of the whole exercise from the beginning was to try and divest the land, the municipality to divest itself of the lands and have people take it over. You will also note in that report that I had raised the idea of what, and I think they're common enough now that I can use the phrase in the room with everyone understanding it, a reverse mortgage, where if somebody, for example, says, look, I don't have the money to purchase it, but I do want to make certain that I and my family get title to this as we go forward. Can I agree that I'll pay you, but you'll get to recover when I sell all of the land? That's another option that's available to the municipality. The concept of effectively fencing off the land was a recommended approach to somebody who is completely, totally not responsive at all. You have a dangerous condition on the lands, and you cannot have, you still own the land, and you don't have anybody dealing with whom you can deal or negotiate. Then at some point in time, you do need to show that you're taking ownership of the lands just under the occupiers, or under the Municipal Act, to show that you're keeping your land in appropriate repair. An appropriate repair can be, if necessary, fencing it off and saying, look, we own this because nobody's talking to us about it. So we're going to show that we own it, and we're putting up a fence. I'm not suggesting that's option 1, not by any stretch. I would say that's probably option Z, but it is something that I would recommend you consider if the appropriate time comes. I would think you would get a welcoming audience, I would hope, with respect to the idea of transferring title, letting the issue of title be settled once and for all, transferring ownership, and then having the title transferred. It's in what I would hope to be the unusual circumstance where you're getting no response at all, or quite honestly a belligerent response, that you may have no other options but to take some steps.
Yeah, thank you. And Madam Mayor, so I wasn't referring to that aspect. What I was referring to was the second to last paragraph on page 18 of our agenda that says, having considered the various options available to the town, it is my opinion that it is best to advise eligible property owners as early in the process as possible that if they fail to purchase a lakeside lot when offered for sale by the town will assume control of the land and treat the land as its own. As an owner of the land, the town will be able to remove any material or structures on the land and utilize the lands as the town best sees fit. The town will also have the option of serving and enforcing trespass notices upon persons who enter upon the land without the consent of the town. So when I read that, and I understood that permits had been received in the past through the Conservation Authority or the Ministry of Natural Resources or through the town with respect to improvements. So did that mean that a person who lived north of this land and owned the amenities and the improvements that they had permits for couldn't cross over the land to access their own assets that were on the northern side of the road?
That, and I fully understand through you, Madam Mayor, where the question is coming from and why. Could that ultimately be the outcome? Yes, that could ultimately be the outcome. Do I expect that to occur? No, I don't. And again, this is written in the context of, reading from the sentence, advise eligible property owners as early in the process as possible if they fail to purchase the lakeside lot when offered for sale by the town, that ultimately the town will need to take control of the land that it owns if it's not dealt with. And that may include all the things that I've just spoken of previously. It is, as I said, it is not option A, it's option Z. But nonetheless, in terms of a response, when somebody says, well, why should I buy anything? I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to keep using it. If that continues to happen, then this whole process will collapse, because I like to think, a reasonable person, if my neighbor doesn't have to pay and he keeps getting to use the land as if nothing happened, why would I pay? Why would I purchase? If nothing changes, why would I do it? So we need a remedy available for those that refuse to engage in the process.
So last comment, Madam Mayor, was with respect to the legal costs, the survey costs, and